Welcome back.
Welcome.
Looks like we're live and doing it.
Been a while.
Has been. Welcome back to the channel here. Weird Games. Playing the games weird. Papa Weird.
Weebling.
Where's your friend? Gus. Here he is.
Are you gonna be Mama Barbarian?
I should show you. Look, here. So, in the last week, we have done stuff. Like, I did this. Look, here's one of my... Well, this one's not the Barbarian. This is either the Buid or the Blaric. the Werebear Cleric or the Werebear Druid. I'm going to have one of each. And they're like the patriarch and the matriarch of the little community that are harassing the players at the minute, right? So, these guys are going to come out. And so they're more of a... Hard to see. I'm not sure whether the white color, I'm going to do one in black, so you'll kind of see the difference in the contrast and the print job. The grey really, I suppose, is the easiest to see. It is probably the easiest to work with. But if you paint them in these lighter colors, or you put in a black, do the black one, it means less work for your undercoats. So you can probably do like a white undercoat on this and just begin and do like a lighter paint, like a lighter brown colored bear with that one. And the other one that would come out black, I'd paint it and do a real black bear. Real grizzly bear look. Anyway, this is going to be, so this is probably our Buid. I think that's a good name for a bear druid, right? Buid.
Or Dare.
Bear. Care. Stare. No, let's stop that.
Dare.
All right. So the other reason we've taken a week to get here to start the month out is because it's the end push. The last 3 months is going to be linked. All right, the whole theme is going to tie in together, and it's a return back to the Elven city of Liss'Antry that they left from. So for the first 2.5 months, 3 months, when they're doing the prison adventuring part where they're clearing out the prison, they'd have to come back to town, sell stuff, interact with all the NPCs, other players, have a life, right? Have a base of operations, and then they go back down and clear more stuff out. So they haven't been here to this city since all the time ago when they fought the Astral Dragon and on his moon domain thing sitting out somewhere in the Astral Sea, and then got sucked into Gehenna, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So they come home. So they're back to this city, and we're going to, okay.
The Raven Queen.
Sure. Well, okay. The Raven Queen, yeah. Okay, so that's it. The change logs first. You're right. So last we left off was here at the henge, right? And a great big silver mirror appeared before them. And the Raven Queen's telling them that, thanks for doing that job for me. That thing with the gnome that you didn't even realize that you were doing was a solid. You got the negative energy back onto my plane and stopped him from that. And now you passed all the trials and brought the artifacts back to me. I will help you go home, right?
Thanks,
yeah, sure. But the home that you knew, it's no longer existed the way you know it. I can't return you there, so I'm going to have to put you in another alternate dimension that needs your help. You can do me another solid, and I'll return you home. But you got to sort that place out.
Yeah.
It's the Raven Queen's offering you a deal. I don't know why she's like. I don't think she'd talk like this. She wouldn't be so straight up and whatever. She'd all be like, ooh, elusive memories and half dreams and totem signs and give me your artifact. I don't know what she'd do, seriously. Raven Queen's an enigma. Anyway.
Hey Alexa, what is the Raven Queen?
There's no Alexa around here. Stop calling out. If Alexa answers one day, it is your fault. All right, so we've done all of this. Oh, did you see my skull? Does that look like a skull or a guitar?
Both.
Skull or guitar? Skull? Guitar.
That's the guitar way. That's the skull way.
Rah. All right. So great. They've gone through the mirror. So the mirror. Okay, I should show you what we do. This is how we play when I do the game. All right. I've mapped out the city, and it's pretty much 1-to-1 with what they play with. And every place that they go to play has an actual site. That over here has a like a physical place. There's not many places that we do the actual theater of the mind kind of play. There are a few places, but what I also have is, if we're just going to, do an anything anywhere kind of battle, we have either, let's see, Alright, come out here. Well, I need a new one.
So,
This
so,
one's so
so
cool.
this play is the Dungeon 23 gonna be Theater of the Mind, or?
No, because it gets drawn out. What we're doing is adding to the original part. I'll show you in a second. This is how we play with if we don't have anything set out, right? So we can draw it up. This is if we really want to, you know, start, you know, look at this. This was what someone's drawing for one of the 9. Yeah. It was like, how long is this corridor? Oh, it's about 10 foot wide and about 80 foot long. And it's like, big drawing lines, right? That's how you do it. What do we got here? Look at this one. I take it this was trees and dead animal creatures. I can't exactly remember what that one was. I think that's a skull and a rib cage. I think that was an animal of some variety. I'm not sure what that rectangle was. These must be trees. They're green, right? Anyway, so this is how we sort of play when we do the sort of more theater of the mind stuff, and we have to draw in random places, right? Otherwise, everything else... Oh, this is another problem I have. All these tiles got to go somewhere, right? Okay. That over there. All these tiles that we play on, so I'll get the ones out that we're going to be needing anyway, which I think is pretty much through to about here. Maybe not all of them today, but at least you'll see what we're doing. All right. So the city plays out kind of like a blueprint. All right. This is the first one that we're playing. Where's the...
That's a character's name.
Did I not get the crypt? Okay, so the first one we're going to be doing for today, and this is one that I sort of put together. Look at this. You got little items you can move around. You can take them off the blueprint and put them in places and move it around if you wanted to redecorate. That's something I did in a fever dream one night. All right, stayed up and I was like, what if I print out all of the physical stuff? And I did the virtual tabletop stuff, but I printed it out and laminated it all and then put it onto there so they could actually have a cauldron and then move all the rooms around. And I was like, that sounds really cool, and it could be good for the next time when I don't draw the cauldron onto the actual map in the first place.
And then you didn't sleep that night.
I don't sleep a lot of nights. Look, this is the silver mirror, okay? Okay, so the idea is that they play through these spaces that we're drawing up. Anything that's sort of solid in the world has a physical landmark, right? So these are essentially the cities, and they sit next to each other and form the city. And what we're going to be doing is, from the previous city, this is what would have happened if instead of the elves that existed here falling into obscurity, they've had a civil war and they've locked the whole city off with magic, and it's been locked off for 1,000 years until the rest of the kingdoms come to re-explore it, right? In the alternate world that the Raven Queen sends you into to fix up for her, they have they've become the only ruling religion and sort of people and culture, kind of like the Empire from Star Wars, right? And even though they've got other races and aliens and species in there, it's pretty much all about the elves. They've got one religion, they got one faith, and it's very much similar to, well, we'll get into that, all right? No, we can get into it now. It's very much similar to the Dark Elves from the Warhammer world. Showing at my age here, I think this is 6th edition, which was, in my opinion, one of the best editions. Before they don't even play the editions anymore and don't even do fantasy, which I think they're actually going to come back to and try and redo fantasy again. Anyway, but this is from a better, edgier time. Like, look at this artwork. You don't see artwork like this anymore, right? You don't see stuff like this drawn into the D&D books.
That's some real edgelord stuff.
Yeah, look, they did all sorts of wonderful stuff. They had great artwork for the old Games Workshop stuff, right? I wish it was printed in color and not black and white the way they used to do it, but there are some color pages through it. And the armies, when they show you the painting of the armies through here, it's in color and stuff as well.
Yippee!
All right, so we are going to do elves that are dark elves, not drow, and they're not a follower even of this, a follower of a single deity, but they're not a follower of Loth. They're a follower of Lilith, okay? And not the Lilith. This is not the Lilith that in this game here that we're playing with the guys in the regular game, right? Where all this sort of shot off from, and you know, there's a prison now and it goes under there, right? The game that's actually existing, we're all playing in and stuff like that, right? Lilith is the big bad guy at the end, right? There's a god, an avatar over there at the end of the city that we haven't even designed yet, right? It's not this Lilith, All right, there's a Lilith in the D&D world. All right, let me jump over to here. I'm gonna show this. All right,
You gonna bippity boppity
I'm gonna
boop
go,
on the
yeah,
screen?
change some screens over. Let me have a look.
Whoa.
Okay, while I talk. Okay, where's that? I pulled it up. Okay, so this is the Lilith in first edition. I'm not sure if they got any run in second edition. The Forsaken Realms wiki here doesn't list that. I can't remember. I picked them up from third edition. I liked a lot of the stuff that was coming out of third edition.
Third edition's pretty cool.
Well, it got unwieldy. There was so much of it, but anyway, they had a lot of lore, a lot of good lore. Anyway, so Lilith is the one that they were trying to seek in the game that we're playing with the guys. Okay, right? And they got an avatar of Lilith, and they had a civil war, and they locked the city down. All right, and then that's how that situation happened. That's all we need to know about it. Moving on, because that's not happened here. In this alternate world, when that civil war happened, and when they called out to Lilith, they got this one. They got this monotheistic, singular god religion, Lilith, out of the Jewish and sometimes referenced in relation to Christian faith. The first wife, mistress, lover of Adam. All right, and it mentions it down here. Adam and Lilith were meant to be equals, and that was a problem. Lilith didn't like the fact that she had to be subservient to Adam as the man, and she caused ruckus for him, and so she left the garden. And even though they tried to stop her, she went off, and then she started, in some regards or reports, whatever readings, that she went off and made the incubus and the succubus. And it's pretty much in this one. Same within D&D. This is where they got it. She's an archdevil, so, you know, that's where they took the devils and the demons, was from the biblical stuff, right? And she is, does it say here, related to the incubus and the succubus? It probably is somewhere else in here, powers or something like this. Yeah, like Loth was the whole spider thing, right? Yeah, Lilith, wait, is it going to say worshippers? Let me see. Dark witches, sure, witches are associated with warlocks, druids. I thought she was associated with the incubus, the incubi and succubi as well. But anyway, we could probably control F, succubus. Any? No? Anyway, possibly not. We're not dealing with her, all right? We're dealing with this one. So how do we cross this? We got a single god religion, where they've called up Lilith, and they've got this one who popped into their world and reality, right? Okay. So much like the Dark Elves, they got a single god. They got a god of murder. All right. You might not know much about these fellas. They're pretty edgy. Look at all the pointy bits on their helm. They got 4 horns on there just to be extra edgy. Look at the swords. Right.
So these are just the edgelord murder hobos.
Yeah, they are, really. They will murder you for just about anything. They don't even agree on the ways to murder each other. Like these sorceresses, they're not allowed to be around the assassins because they don't get on, because the assassins like to do straight up killing business, and they don't believe that magic should be the way that they, you know, provide the services to their lord. Was it Cain? Pretty sure it is. Yeah, the Witch King. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, to get this theme, all right, where's my writing? We're going to start, okay? Put this aside. We'll need these papers. Let's have a look. We need to do what they're running. Remember we did with the, remember when we had the illithid stuff? We wrote down all the illithids into a list, and then we started like ticking off when we put one of them in there, another one in there. Oh, now we've had 3 of this kind, and we've had 2 of this kind, and we're only going to put 1 of these in here, right? We're going to have to do that as well, okay? This is why this whole schmozzle has taken a week to get sorted, all right? Because I've needed a whole other book to do notes in that we're going to read from today, rather than post-its. They weren't big enough, all right? So hopefully let's skip through this as quick as we can, because we're going to do a few days worth of work. All right.
8.
Well, the room's already done. That's the thing. The room's already done. What we're going to do is set up the world, the big shift. All right. So the shift is in this world. All right. In this world, well, they'll learn that out over time, because they'll find out that Lilith. Oh yeah, they were tracking that down in the other world, and then they won't realize that the Lilith that they're tracking down originally from where they came right, is not the same Lilith as one that actually has power here, let alone the way that it operates. Okay, so Lilith has an avatar who's the big bad, all right at the end. Okay, under Lilith as the avatar, she has what we have over here. Where are they? They do mention it somewhere. Let me have a look.
Which else?
I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for where they have the matrons. Sorry, is what we're going to cross over. The matrons are what they have is drow mate. Oh, okay. Last point of clarification before we go on further. Where are we getting the stat blocks? What are the CR of these creatures? What are we dealing with? Like, what are we crossing over, right? We are going to use nearly all of the drow stat blocks that we have, both from here, from the Monsters Manual, all right?
The Monster Manual extended.
No, wait, Monster Manual, all right? And Monsters and Multiverse, they have drow in there, right? So we're going to be mostly using those. I'm going to supplement it with the drow out of the Monster Manual extended, all right?
And
so if you can go out and support that, yeah, 1 and 2 have some drow in there, right? So go out and support those, all very good stuff. Had a friend turn me onto it. Very happy since I got a hold of them. I'd love to get the books, but we are poor.
I didn't know the drows can teleport.
No, it depends on whatever, right? That might be one of them. So which one's that? So this is a picture. They got the Arcane Knights here, some Dark Snipers, the House Wizards, the Soldiers. This is where we're gonna pull our CR1 Soldiers from. So that this is going to be the majority of your the guards that you see posted to gateways and doors and points of interest and stuff like that, outside shops. That's going to be these regular CR1 drow soldiers.
Okay.
I mean, so a lot of this stuff is on point, because you got to consider that your average citizenry at this point is not of a concern and a danger to any adventurers. What is a danger is the fact that they've now got hundreds of these things to worry about. So they're going into a city, all right, that they're going to have to negotiate the relationships of, and how to turn up, pop into this city, right? Out of this crypt. Where's the crypt? Here's the crypt. This crypt here has been blocked off because this area was unable to be defiled. It held still onto the energies of the Raven Queen, and she would not let this last bastion of her power within this city be taken away, because it's funnels through that mirror off to the Shadowfell. Even in the game that we play, that's what happens now. It's indestructible, it's perma there, you can't even take it off the wall, put it in the Tarrasque Valley. Alright, if you try and physically attack it, it gives you curses. I roll on the 3.5 book curse table. Like, I don't muck around, right? You leave the mirror alone, okay?
What if they were to, like, get a Tarrasque and, like, bring it all the way here?
The Tarrasque would crush this with its giant foot as it stood on top of it, and it would get the mirror in its foot, and it would pull its foot out, and it would be bloody, and the mirror would be sitting there in amongst all the rubble untouched.
Oh.
It is anchored to this plane in its position. The fact that the wall happens to be there is just a convenience. All right? Okay? Not going anywhere. Don't mess with me.
So it's like an immovable a mirror.
Sure, yes, with a connection through the portal, through to the Shadowfell. So what they did instead was, up here where it exists, because this is connected to the slum district, we're going to have a slum district, right? Like they all do, and all the RPGs and stuff, right? They're going to enter in here. It's going to be closed off, dark, empty, ransacked, destitute, nothing in here, and they're going to have to break their way out or go out the water and find their way, because this water already has entries and exits, which they probably would know about, maybe from all the original time back at the beginning of the game, possibly no. Anyway, not a point. The point is that they start here, they pop in, it's empty and dark, they find their way out, and then they come out. So this is what I mean. The room's already done. What's the room? The room over here is going to be the crypt. Already done it. All we have to do is say that I redraw it, and I just take out all of the artifacts. I take out all of the equipment, the torture beds, the armor racks, the libraries, the bench and the beds and everything, right? All that is left is this mirror in this room. So that's what I mean. This work, the map work, is going to be easier. That's why we can leave it a little bit. Back to here. The elves, the dark elves. Under the reign of the Lilith, all right? this monotheistic figure, all right, with her avatar ruling this city. And from this city, there was never collapse and a destruction of the continents. So the landmass and everywhere out from this city has all been conquered and subjugated by Lilith and her army of dark elves. This world is under her pall and control. Okay, they won. There was no time where the elves fell into obscurity and moved off to a little island somewhere, and the time of man came and made floating islands. That never happened here. All right, we just got Lilith as a dark elf. Right, they don't allow any other gods. So any of the paladins in your party, right? No other gods. Any time that is shown that you worship any other kind of religious figure or have any other kind of iconography on you, that's an instant red flag to the guards in this place, right? That you're not on the level with them.
Use your charisma to...
Well, that's where you have to talk your way out, or why you have it, right? Maybe you say, oh yes, I'm corrupted, and this is my order signet that I carry around as a reminder of spitting on the good people. Tuh, I hate those good people. Tuh, tuh. Right? Like, I don't know. So yeah, no other gods are allowed to have influence or power. Okay, this is the problem that they've caused for himself. In the open. Okay, she can't stop the flow of any other one. Like, she can't stop the powers being manifested by a cleric or nature being manifested by a druid, right? But you do not do this in public. It's like in the Nazi times or the communist times, right? If your friend of your friend, who you think is your friend, sees you doing that, then they'll say they're your friend right up until the time that they sell you out for the $5 to go buy a burrito. All right? In fantasy burrito. It's a fantasy burrito. All right?
Yep.
Okay, so neither gods, monoculture. All right? Like so think about it like the idea of, yeah, the Force users in Star Wars. It's the Empire. You got the dark side of the Force. You're only allowed to use the dark side of the Force if you're a Force user, which is rare in that instance, but God knows Disney's changing it, but whatever. And if you're seen using the light side or the wrong religion magic, you're out. Okay, so Avatar, and under the Avatar,
No, you can only use red lightsabers.
okay. So we do have matrons. That's what they put into this book. In the Monsters of Multiverse, they have matrons. So under the Avatar, which is we're gonna have to make up later on. This is gonna be the last one we do. Avatar. It's gonna be like CR24 or something, right?
And we gotta make a character?
Yeah. All the way. We're gonna make a whole god all the way up, right? All the god powers, super powered, right? As strong as the Orcus, right? Or Vecnas and the things that they've already put out. They've already put out stat blocks for, right?
So this thing could go head to head with Orcus.
It probably wouldn't. I mean, they have. Well, this is the thing. Actually, this one wouldn't, but the Raven Queen would. Raven Queen is big enemies with Orcus. All right, you want someone to go against Orcus? You get the stat block for the Raven Queen. But I ain't seen that. I don't have access to that. That's another one you want to have. Oh, you want that in a death battle?
Yep.
All right, sure. Okay, so we are taking the stat blocks that we have for our drows, and we are appropriating them into the roles of what we have.
Okay.
So, for example, for the host, the dark host or the dark elves, they have warriors. They're very thematic. They have, like you see on here, look, they got the big pointy helmets and like long spears. Look at these guys. They got long spears and the shields and stuff, right? This is what we're going to do, okay? What warriors do we have from here? Well, we got the soldiers. We got the sergeants, the elite soldiers, some house captains, all right? And then on the other side of that, for the magic using side, we have the house wizards, the mage, the priestess, and the arachnomancer, all right? Okay, so this is things that we're going to put over here, all right?
Is the arachnomancer like a necromancer with just spiders?
Yeah, and I think they can turn themselves into a spider. Right, so we'll probably do something like that. I think the arachnomancer, it'd probably make more sense that they can turn into what these guys have a lot to do with here are more like harpies. All right, so there may be some form of winged dragon or winged creature, or like you might want to do a corrupted pseudo dragon or something in the larger sense, right? Okay, all right.
Didn't you make like a tiny little pseudo dragon puffball thing?
For who? Where? What? They sold the pseudo dragon. I gave them opportunity to have a pseudo dragon as a familiar, right, or as a ranger pet or something that they could have grown and worked and stuff like that. And they sold it for the money. They just wanted 25k straight up. Thank you very much.
No,
There was no joke about that.
one shot. You had a little pseudo dragon puffball thing.
Oh, I did. That was, yeah, because that was a little fairy creature. Yeah, that was different. That was the celestial,
Puffball.
yeah, celestial warlock with a familiar somehow. I can't remember. Stop that. I'm trying to, look, we have so much to do. Focus. All right?
Okay.
Lilith. So we got under her are matrons. These are the people that run the city. We're going to have about 6 of these-ish. All right? Okay, so in each of the point, like at the end point of the city, they're going to have 2. In the middle point, they're going to have 2, and at the start point here in the slums, they're going to have 2. Right? They're going to have 1 in the more businessy district, and they're going to have 1 in the more slummy part of it. Right? Okay.
And then 1, like guarding the gates of Lilith or something.
Sure, we'll see. They'll come up. All right. Matrons are in charge. All right. So underneath the matron, all right, you also have, look. So we got warriors. Okay. Which we have soldiers, sergeants, elite soldiers. I wonder whether we should show some of these off. Where are they? Oh, we've only got really the stat blocks. You can't really see them, right? The house wizards, yeah, and the soldiers and stuff. You don't really have any pictures except for what's on top. And I'd advise you to either get a hold of the PDF or buy the book or whatever, right?
We could
buy
show
the PDF,
them in color.
if you can get a hold of that and support them, huh?
We could show it to them.
I could jump over. No, yeah, but I'm not opening it up. We haven't kind of got time for that to go through and have a look at each one. We kind of have to move. Okay, so the guys in this are all the soldiers and the fighters. The wizards and the casters and the priestesses, they're all the females. So it's a split society, all right? So you got the matron. So it is like the drow in the sense that it is a matriarchal society run by a woman, but it's not run in the same way as the drow would run it. And they don't hate their men like the way that they drow do. You know, they don't denigrate them and put them at lower levels and keep them out of the secret knowledges and eat their, I don't know what they do to them anyway. I'm not sure what they get up to. The point is that they have a split, right? So they have a matron, and then so they have females doing the magic, and the male are doing the martials, all right, the fighting. So they also will have, let's have a look.
The shades.
Yeah, I got to work out how to write all this down. I've got so many things and pages and books going on. All right, so matrons. So we have of the soldiers. All right, I probably should write all this down across here, or maybe I'll write it later just so we can work through. Let me see. Well, we'll just explain it first. It's probably the easiest. What is thematic to these dark elves from here that we're taking is that they have warriors with spears and shields and pointy hats. All right? Some of them can cast, and the ones that don't cast, the female ones, are the sorceresses. But the sorceresses here, they're not sorceresses and high sorceresses. They're mages, priestesses, house wizards, and arachnomancers. They're all female, all right? Okay, so they do the magic-y stuff, yeah? So what about these executioners? What have we got in the line of an executioner? Well, they actually do have, in the Monsters Multiverse one, the Inquisitor. So we put an Inquisitor and we just give him special abilities. Look, large two-handers, right? Give him the killing blow. So give him same rules as a Vorpal sword or extra, right? Anything he attacks with his large two-handed weapon is considered to be Vorpal. So off with your head, I think, on a crit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great.
So just a Vorpal two-handed axe.
Well, I mean, the execution, I think they're longsword. I think they're longswords in here for executioners, to be honest. Is there a picture of an executioner unit in here? Let me see. That's Blackguard. We're going to have some of those. Executioners. Here we go. They've got a glaive, or no, actually a two-handed longsword, isn't it? Look at the size of that sword.
So just a Vorpal longsword.
Yeah, huge Vorpal greatsword, two-handed greatsword. Anyway.
Everybody likes so
oversized.
happy that they have a Vorpal sword. These guys are like 16.
Sure. That thing is, no. It's a talent of the executioner. It's not a talent of the sword. They just hold that sword. It's just any sword. As long as it's a long two-handed sword, it could be theirs. It could be one fashioned by a dwarf, even though they'd not like to use it. But that's the point. It's their trait. It's not the weapon. If you kill them and take their weapon, you don't get that trait. It's not a trait of the weapon. All right? It's a trait of the individual. Okay. Now we have Blackguard. These are the ones that are meant to protect the Witch King, you know, himself. These are the specialty guard, right? Or as I understand it anyway, right? So we have some elites here. We're going to use the Arcane Knights, the Arcane Guards, and Demon Binders, right? Okay. So some of the Arcane, some of these Knights and Guards, some of these soldiers that are male and have a bit of aptitude, they are allowed to use magic, but they have to come and serve one of the matrons, all right? So you have soldiers and these Blackguards, sorcerers, they're all protecting the matrons, and the matrons work for the Avatar of Lilith. All right, okay. What else we got? Okay, so Dark Riders. The Dark Riders in this, they ride Cold Ones, which are essentially big velociraptors, right?
Indoraptors.
So that's what, yeah, well, we're having a look, but we had to look around for Indoraptor. That's
Stat
the thing,
blocks.
stat blocks, because there's no Indoraptor stat blocks in the dinosaurs. Where's pictures of the cold ones here? Where's the coloured ones? There, these cold ones, right? They ride around dinosaurs. They have chariots with them at the front and everything. Very cool. So yeah, so what we're going to do is get the Indoraptor stat block off the internet. I'm sure there's a homebrew one or something, or
Yeah,
we'll change the Allosaurus, right? The Allosaurus one,
yeah,
or
we'll just say it's an Indoraptor, but use Allosaurus stat.
sure, something like that, right? Because what you're looking for is a large size that can be ridden by medium-sized creature. That looks like a dinosaur. It's not too big. T-Rex too big. Velociraptor too small.
It was in. It's like in between a Velociraptor and Allosaurus.
Okay.
Because the Indominus Rex was like T-Rex sized, and add that to a Velociraptor, you get something new.
Okay. All right. Sure. So what else they got? All right. I forgot.
The Witch Elves.
Yeah. Shades. These are their ones that are rogues and stuff like that. So I got a couple of shades. What do we got here for shades? Dark snipers and skirmishers. So I'll put some of those in. Like, I suppose we can look at these more when we actually go to put them into rooms and do stuff and talk about where they're going, right? And they become important. What else we got here that's important? Cold One Knights. So these are the guys riding the Cold Ones. Cold One Chariot. We talked about them. Maybe we can just put a chariot in the streets. I don't know. Maybe it might become useful. Maybe the adventurers get a hold of it and run through the streets with a chariot before they get caught.
With the chariot, they use the T-Rex for the chariot.
No, they still use the same thing. Didn't you see? They're the same size. They didn't use something bigger to pull the chariots. And besides, a T-Rex would be massive compared to the size of a chariot. It'd be too big. Look, they're the same size creature. Same size creature.
Just two of them.
Just two of them, right? Harpies, right? There's stat blocks for harpies in there, so we can use those. They're no problem. It says here that they fly around the top of the sacrificial spires. You know, there must be whatever. Look, these. Here we go. These beasts with savage primeval beauty. Some claim their souls. Let me see. Harpy is a sign of good fortune, or maybe to the Dark Elves it is, and claim that if they were ever to desert the city, it would fall to the enemy within 90 days. All right, so they look to them as like a figure of their prosperity.
So just kill all the harpies and it will go to rage.
Sure. Okay, so then they have Witch Elves. These are the ones that are especially devoted to the Cain, the god. These are the ones that don't like magic being used. They prefer to just either use poison, which is so much more nobler than witchcraft, right, than spells. So they poison.
They just run
or assassinate you. Just outright assassinate you. Okay? So we got Witch Elves. What can we put for Witch Elves? There are things in there, there's a bit high of a level called Favoured Consorts. This is in the, this one here, in the Elves. And these things are quite high level. So these ones, they might be the guards of the matrons, right? These ones might be some of the more specialised ones that are guarding. If you don't want to have like a whole heap of the arcane knights and stuff around, you might want to have one of these on hand, because they are quite high up in the, let me see, Favoured Consort, 100. They're a bit high in the CR rating. They don't look like much. They get a challenge rating 18 though, right? So you wouldn't need to do much with them, right?
Just give them poison.
Sure, yeah, that's the thing you have to add to them, is the poison. So their stat block, and retheme them to, instead of being a consort like that, to be female cultist of Lilith, who hides in the shadows and cuts your throat with long nails and stuff that are poisoned. Right? Great. So, anything else? Let me see. Assassins. Oh, and then there's beasts and stuff. Like, look, you got war hydras, so you can put hydras in there. They use manticores, which you got. Pegasus, which you can get and just theme it. Black dragons, right? So later on we can put some black dragons in. So these things can all go in later on into the game where we'll grab stat blocks and bring them across and put them in, right?
A
into
Pegasus, but it's a nightmare.
Yeah, essentially, right? So I will write that in later. I'll write all that stuff and transfer it across so we don't have to take time. The one thing we do have to talk about is the city composition, all right? And what we have is kind of like Baldur's Gate, but in kind of like a inverse of like the evil races, you know, right? So everybody can come here and it doesn't matter, as long as you're outwardly evil, you get away with it, right? So it's a lawful evil. That's all right, we have to write that down. Lawful evil
as your
city.
rite of passage to gain citizenship, you gotta kill someone.
No, it's not like that. Not like that. You can come and go in the city, you can come for trade, but you have to understand that, you know, there's strict laws that they will execute you for. They will either, you know, well, if you cause enough trouble, they'll execute you in the street, but they prefer to capture you because they can put you on trial publicly and then put you on public execution, which is far more effective at stopping other people from later on being further criminals. All right, so that's the point of it. So it's a lawful evil city. They have 75% of them, all right? 75% are going to be drow, right? So it's mostly drow. Then they're going to have like 15% is going to be Duergar and the Schnurfnurb deep gnomes, you know, right? So Schnurfnurbenens. I hate that word. So the deep gnomes, all right, is going to be like 15%. There's going to be a good contingent of those guys there. And then you're going to have, is it what, 10% left, right?
Of trolls.
Of like, giants. Yeah, what I write there? Trolls, giants, ogres, all sorts of other creatures. So as long as you don't have a paladin in the party that's lawful good, that wants to pick a fight with everything instantly.
Don't be a paladin.
Yeah, sure.
You should be a lawful evil paladin that well,
sure, they'd fit in. That's the thing.
Lilith.
That's the thing. Oh well, I mean, like maybe they fall in love with Lilith while they're here. Maybe they want to decide that they want to work with the party, betray the party, and become evil. I don't know. Don't do that. Stop that. Stop PvPing your classmates, your group mates. Okay. So we've got a city, lawful evil, 75% of them pretty much drow, right? Majority population, some Duergar, some deep gnome, and then there's trolls, giants, and other stuff walking around. So it's not going to look out of place if you have Shadar-kai pop up even, or as long as you are not a wood elf or an obvious high elf or something like that, as long as you can maybe disguise your features and pass your charisma rolls, right? You'll probably get by.
Paint yourself grey. Get some grey paint out of your bag of holding and just go.
Grey face yourself. That's what I do. Sure. All right. So what are we doing then? We haven't even talked about really going ahead, right? I will write this up later and pass this across in this book and try and make it look neater than what I think it is. Okay. But we have to talk about where we're going. Where are we going? Where's this thing? So, first room, very quickly. This is the crypt. All right, so one of the people in the group, they have taken a hold of this place in the other world, but from now on, we'll just talk about what's going on here. They appear in this room, okay? It's all desolate and empty and dark, all right? Okay, so they appear in the crypt, and this is going to be essentially the new base, all right, or new home, okay? So that they have a place to come back and take short rests, long rests, all right? And if they need to, they can escape out this waterway here that connects to an external mountain range. Or actually, if they go the other way, it connects to an internal waterway that feeds into the city, all right? So they have options to escape out of here. If things get too shady, they can escape out into the countryside and come back and try and get into the city that way.
Or they could escape out into the countryside.
Well, they can just stay here. They can just stay here and blend in. And when people question them about what they're doing, they say that they were, I don't know, I'm not sure how they would explain having
I am
arrived
seeking
here.
refuge.
Sure, we came here and we noticed that place was whatever, and one of the mages recognized there was a magical item in there, so we uncovered it. We can give you the magical item, but is it all right if we stay there as a time being, and you just sacrifice one of your magical items just to keep up the ruse, right? It's part of the lie. But anyway, you try and take this
I'm not
as a
feeding
place.
Gale no more magic items, man.
We're not doing that now. Stay on track, all right? Stay on track. Okay, we've been at it for a bit already. Got so much to do. All right. So this is the picture of the crypt. This is what they're going to be in here. This is gonna be the new base of operations. Okay. They got a water course to escape. So they got an escape over here. And they're going to, let me see, I'll try and draw it in real quick. There's a circle, right? There we go. So the thing is, this will be made up for first, let me see, this month of 3, 1, 2, 3. So this whole month is what we've already got prepared work, and we'll just fill it out as we go. From the next month is where we're going to start to make the last, this 3/3 of the city. We're going to take it in 3 months. This third and month, the drawing of the maps is already done, and we're just filling it out. The next month will be all new with the drawing of the city, and that will be the final form of the city for the second expansion. And then there's the third one, which will be so 18, 19, 20. I hope that makes sense to everyone out there. This is going to be done in 3 parts over 3 months. We're going to do level 18 as the first part of the city, level 19 the second part, and level 20 to finish with the god avatar at the end. Right? Great. First part of the section of the city, the first third. Starting with the crypt, coming down here. They got a place to stay if they need it. Otherwise, they've got a place that they can kind of escape from. All right? Great. Crypt. Yeah? Good.
Yep.
Empty.
Nothing inside.
Dark. Damp. Right?
Sad.
Is it a bit sad? Right? Ransacked. Right? Great. So what is next? What sits above that? So this here, put you out of the way. Put you out of the way. We have, let me see. The best way to do this might be, put this one here first. Upside down, upside down. This is a large gardens that sits. It's got a statue at the end of it. Move all these books out of the way. Probably the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, I remember you turned the camera on the OBS upside down, so
What?
you can see the things properly.
Yeah. And?
Pretty smart.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, so this here is where they come out of the crypt, right? Look, circle, goes under there, okay? Comes into a garden. This garden here is now full of homeless people. Well, destitute people, maybe the people selling illicit substances, the wrong magical item, fake passports. Maybe they crash out. This pond here in the gardens is
it still gonna be
overgrown
filled with pond?
Sorry?
Is the pond still gonna have pond in it?
Murky and green and filled with muck because no one really comes here. So this gives the group some breathing room before they go off into the rest of the city, that they're not going to instantly be seen by guards. What are you doing coming out of there? All right. So this is their entry point where they can come back and go, hey, I know all this. This looks familiar, but wait, there should be statues here. These statues here in the garden, statues are destroyed. All right. Statues destroyed. All right, when they get here, because these statues were ancient Elven warriors that held weapons that could be imbued with life like a golem and brought to life as a warrior, right? Okay, they've been destroyed. Okay, their weapons taken. Sure, they were probably just broken down with hammers and all the pieces moved off and chucked away, right? Desecrated. The pool is scum, right? It's sickly, not in a good way, green. I wouldn't drink it. Okay. This place is overrun by what would be considered homeless for this place. So they're just probably elves or probably mostly other races, to be honest. It's probably most diverse area because the elves would probably look after their own to a certain amount, right? So so this is overrun with like homeless, destitute people or dodgy criminals, all right?
Criminal scum.
Dodgy crims. Okay, so this is where you might go and buy magic potions illegally that you shouldn't have, all right? So we've got a park here, entryway. On top of this sits here. This is the thing. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to take a picture and maybe show it in one of this next video, be organized, and take an image and a photo of all of these panels put together so you can actually see what the city looks like. The only problem is that it takes up more than my table to do that. It's quite a large map when you lay it all out. And usually what we do is just sort of like put one set of maps onto the table. We'll just have these 4 that we play around and use, and then when we don't need them anymore, we obviously just put them away, right? So that's the point of that. Anyway, so they come out of the crypt. Hopefully they get to use it as a base. Otherwise, they got an option to flee out of there. When they come out, everything should look somewhat familiar, but different. They should have some breathing room, so no guards, just homeless elves and Jurga and stuff like that, and criminals in the shadows. All right. Let me see. What's next? Next page. All right. This is the entryway. So of the city, where's that one of the gardens there? Over here, right? Come. The gardens sit like that. So this is the entryway into the city. Can we see that? Yeah, sure, kind of, maybe a little bit. My video works not great for framing. They'll walk into the city, come through here, and these here within the game world are offices. So you have a commander's office for the entry to the city. Okay, you have like the lieutenant who sits behind here in the office,
Papers, please.
and yeah, there's a bit of papers, please, sort of stuff. You know, this is where you kind of report to. This is like the local popo in their office. There's an inn here, right? So these things will still exist. We're just repurposing them. Instead of the commander's office, this is going to be where one of those. Let me see. Maybe I should have written it down.
Matriarchs?
One of the matrons, possibly. Let me see.
Exist.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I might put it in later. Where's that book? All right. What we might have in here is one of the consorts of the matron. All right. The matron's further off. You might even have in this room here, in this office. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. In this office, you probably will have some of the guards. So you'll have soldiers. You'll probably have a couple of the sergeants, right? So you've got a guard block here. So the idea is on your guard block. Okay, if you got a room like that, yeah, broken up very roughly. Okay, you got someone behind the door. This is the one where I'm thinking. This is one of the. Oh my god, I just said it, didn't I, before?
Caratrons or something?
Consorts. One of the witch elf consorts, alright? So there's a consort here, okay? Alright? And behind this desk at the back, you can have a matron. This is don't go out and have a fight straight away. Alright?
You'll get destroyed.
This is the idea. I'm making this a city that they're going to have to interact with and possibly take down from the inside over time, or work out how to, because there's multiple ways back into the city, how to go in and just take people out and assassinate them over time. Because all of the places, all the physical places, they will know, they'll have memory of, they exist in the same position. Everything is in the same place. It is just a different world. All right. Okay. So we've got a consort and a matron behind here. This is where you'd probably have one of the sergeants or an elite soldier, right? You'd have an elite here, and you'd probably have a couple of the sergeants inside, right? So you put sergeants there. Over here on this at the gateway, this is where you'd probably have another sergeant, and you have probably a couple of the regular soldiers, and they're guarding that door. You'd also put a couple of other soldiers, so you put some at the entryway to this door here, you put one outside the inn, and this is the point. It's like you turn around, you have always got somebody or something watching you, being cautious and suspecting of you within this area. You're going to have to work out how to engage with this city in that thing, and it won't instantly kill you. Say for example, so what happens if the paladin goes rogue? They might take out some people, but then they will probably, you set the city guard on them. So even if they take out a whole people, those, you just get them captured eventually, and you take them down to 0 hit points, but they wake up in the jail without all their stuff. And then you give them the whole jailbreak throughout the city, where you put an NPC in there that'll help them jailbreak, help them get out, help them get their gear again, and they just have to escape. But then you're now outside the city, and you got to work out how to break in. Maybe it's the same way you got out. Maybe it's through the water tunnels, because that one's still an option. Maybe there's another way to get in out over the walls or whatever, or through one of the other mountain passages. Yeah. Okay. So we've got the guard shack. We're gonna have elites and sergeants, right? And on the gateway here, we're gonna have some other guards around. Okay. So I will draw that one up down here. Probably going to have at least 6 guards within this area. Now, this part here in the middle here, this carries curiosities, is just a set of stalls. So this stalls doesn't even have to exist here. This can just be a straight thoroughfare and not be used. This one can just be taken out. We don't need that, okay? That only exists there because originally when they come into this place, this is the only panel plus another one that they had to do sleeping in, commerce in, NPC relations in, right? And they've grown out of there as they've taken back the city, all right? Okay, all right. So we do have the inn. So the inn is still
An inn.
An inn, because they need one, right? So this is people who, the idea is that if you've got, let me see. You know what, there's one map I should have shown. I never did right at the beginning. Maybe it would have made more sense. That's what I meant by thirds. This is the master map, okay? Hard to see over here, right? But this has already been done. This is what the guys play through. This is where we are at the middle. They have cleared and retaken all of this city, and they are working on retaking all of this city here. This is what we will do this month. This here is what they are meant to do from their level 11 to level 16, right? This is the next part of their progression. This we will do for November. We will build this area, and then later on I'll put stuff in there for when they get to it, but they're not even there yet. And then this is the end, right? And it will extend into the mountains. This whole section here is to have towers and libraries, cathedrals, high elf stuff. But it's considering it's a dark elf, it's all going to be themed around like torture and human sacrifice and devotion and dark churches and evil stuff, right? That's all later on. So you see how we have it set by thirds to work with. And this is obviously already drawn out most clear. This one is designed in my brain and on this paper a little bit, and this is what we will work with and pretty much do from scratch. And then December, that's the last month. December will be the last one, all from scratch, and I don't know exactly where we're going from there. All right, that's all of the tomorrow's problems. But you can see we have to do this whole part of this city first, right? Okay, sure, that's what we're doing. All right, this one I'm going to be careful with. That master map is frail. So the inn is still an inn. An inn is an inn is an inn is an inn. All right. So the guys might want to not stay here. Maybe they come up out of that place and they're like, oh, we didn't come out of that. Did you say we come out of that crypt? We didn't come out of that crypt. We were totally coming to that gate, even though the guards never saw us or gave us papers or told us where to go. We're totally meant to be here.
Force mind tricked.
Sure, charisma rolls, right? Persuasions and deceptions.
Let me roll for charisma.
No, please, no, not right now. Focus. Next page. An inn is an inn is an inn is an inn. All right, I'll draw that one in later. Where are we up to? Okay. Oh, Thomas's house. So we do have townhouses in here. These places is probably where, say, the matron lives. If she has a you know, works there, she probably, you know, has an office in the guard area. She probably also lives within this region as well, or somebody will, maybe some rich merchant who isn't quite good enough to go into the next section, right? Because these sections are all gated off by series of papers, like passports. Can you get into the next section? No, you're not really allowed to. Then you have to stay here. So to start with, they got to get out of this section of the city, right? Anyway, this section has houses. All right, so we have a house. This will hold. All right, let me have a look. You can see, look, this is the many days. So the townhouse 1, and then where's this townhouse 2? Rip that. They sit here on top of the park. The parklands are south of this. This connects here. The crypt is south of that, southeast. These are so hard to see. In the center of these two houses, you have one house on one side. And all the way here, what is that? 100 feet or more? You have the other house on the other side, right? And in the middle, you have a giant market. All right, so this is a market. It's a bazaar. So we have house 1, house 2, and we have the market in the middle. All right, so this market is still a market, but it's not a fancy market. It's like, I mean, you can get food. It's like that place in Star Wars, the episode 7, Force Awakens, where she's running around, where Finn the stormtrooper kid, right?
Yeah.
Sure. And remember, they see her and trying to run up to her, and they have a fight with some stormtroopers, and there's like a bazaar with like bits of Hessian fabric hanging over stalls, and they're just selling junk because that's all they have is junk. Well, that's what this is. It's a market of junk, right?
Market
of junk. All right. But I mean, there's stuff here that people would like. It's also like in District, isn't it, in that, what's that movie with the districts? Hunger Games, right?
District
and
12.
Some of the districts, they just have junk, and they got like, they walk into the building and there's a market inside, and they just got all the stalls sit around, and this one's selling this junk and that one's selling that other junk, right? Well, they got a market of junk, and they got 2 houses, and this is probably rich person house number 1. All right, so this is where we put an NPC in here. All right, so this one I'm going to say is a merchant, okay? And that's their house. Maybe they own one of these stores. Maybe they own one of the other shops, all right? And so the rich person, how many rooms they get? They get 3 rooms, all right? So they got themselves a bedroom and a dining area and a kitchenette, all right? So they got a nice cozy little house, same over here, all right? Market of junk in the middle. Rich person's a merchant. What do you reckon? Another fancy person over here.
Hang on.
I think we should put
Let me think
like
about this.
one of the military officers maybe. Well, quickly we're gonna move on. Who's living in this house?
Military person.
One of the officers. So one of the consorts or a matron or something. Maybe a matron gets to have a house here.
Matron.
Sure. The other consorts, they get to stay and live somewhere else. All right. I'm not sure what we're going to do for general bedding. I'm not going to draw every single elf's bed into this map. It's not the way it works. Okay, so we have a rich person on one side. They're a merchant. There we have one of the matrons. Okay, I'm also saying that this is like Japan. Only the elves can live here. So only elves actually have any property or houses. Everybody else either has to stay on the outskirts of the city or in one of the inns or as a guest of an elf. So only elves can own here. That's how bad these guys are, right? You getting me? They're racist, they're evil, they sacrifice people, right? They'll make contracts with you, they'll execute you in the streets, or they'll execute you afterwards, but still in the streets publicly. They'll just make a show of it and official.
Can I be? You can be pretty bad.
You can be pretty bad, just as long as it's lawful bad, you know, right? Like, if you got a lawful evil person who's a murder hobo and they've just been waiting for their time to exist, well, here's perfect. They just blend in, they just fit in. Right, probably better than anybody else. Their probably biggest problem for the group is keeping the goods from starting a fight or showing a religious
goods from
symbol
being good.
or casting a spell or saying the wrong word, right? Okay, so one of the matrons got a house here, rich person's got a merchant. All right, that's that area. Okay,
Tavern.
what's next? Is there a tavern? There's a tavern. All right, so where's this tavern? This tavern sits. So the entry to your city. Where's the entry to your city? The entry to the city is here, and you've got the commander's office where you're meant to get your passports. There's no little market there, right? You got your inn on the other side, right? So you're coming into the start of the city from this side, into the lower class, lower entry, public entry.
The
Okay?
slums.
Yeah. Well, sort of the slums. It's not that bad. The slums are the garden areas, right? That were dedicated to the elves that they don't like, that they couldn't really do anything with. That's over there. All right. Okay. So here we have, upside down. We have a tavern, right? North of the commander's office. We have a pool. This connects to that waterway. Remember I said that there was a waterway that connects here, as well as another waterway later on, and another waterway later on. They're all connected under the city, right? So they can use this. And they have, on the other side of the tavern, they have 2 shops. Okay, so that still exists. So a tavern is a tavern.
I just thought of a funny.
All right, tavern is a tavern. Yes.
All the drow people see a barbarian. No, they just see a seal with a vorpal sword in its mouth.
Oh my god.
Come out of the waterway.
Just splashing up in the anime slow-mo with the water flicking off its tail, right?
And then untransforms, grabs the sword out of his mouth.
Oh my god.
And like beheads the
Sure,
Valkyrie.
animate it for me. I'll watch it. Send it off to Death Battle. I'll do it. I'll watch it. All right, okay. So a tavern is a tavern, all right? Oh, wrong one. Tavern is a tavern, okay? The pool is a pool, all right? Draw the circle of a pool equals pool, okay? So this pool...
Is it still the damp, yucky water?
No, this pool had actually been purified by like gods and clerics and hallowed water, blessed water, blah, 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 holy water, right? Free holy water. But here, it's just normal water. It hasn't been cursed or blessed, but it can be used, but don't go swimming in it, all right? It's not advised. It's not nice, okay? Might get in trouble. So a pool is a pool, but it's not a blessed pool like it is in the other world. It's
Not holy water?
It's not holy water. Yeah, but it's also not poison. They need to have some drinking water on tap, and it's meant to be a functioning city, all right? Not a you know, evil trap filled beholder den, all right? This is a lawful evil functioning commerce center, all right? Shop 1 and 2. Now I had shop 1 on the top here. Obviously has a picture of a cauldron in it, right? So this one had always been the magic shop, all right, for basic magic stuff. And the next one underneath it has always been...
The weapon shop.
Exactly.
I am so good at this.
You're at it. Good. I'm glad you're on it. You looked at me for a second. Sure. This is where the weaponsmith and the armor, right? So weapons and armor is over here. Okay, so that can stay the same. So they got a place that they can sell stuff. This is a town. They're meant to come in, and as long as they can, infiltrate the place and come out of the crypt and not look too, inconspicuous about it or whatever, that they can step out and not be seen to be making a ruckus, then they should be able to blend in with everybody and find out what's going on and work out exactly what they're meant to be doing here.
Do you reckon I'd be able to just go like boom, 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 and like, hello, merchant man, could I have like 31 dragon scales, please?
I don't know. It doesn't work like that. They don't sell dragon scales. You have to ask the dragon scale reseller. He sells armor. You want to bring him? You want dragon scale armor? You bring him the dragon scales. He'll make it into armor. But you don't have it.
We already have the makeup.
Yeah, but okay, sure. That's what. Oh, yeah. But then why are you asking him? You'll probably come in here and look at what he's got on the wall, right? For just buy off the wall stuff that he might have available that you might want, right? You give him a menu of things even, right? Or you have that same list that we had before. You just make it easier to generate items because the guy is right here. And even still, you would probably do up to like tier 2 magical items. Like nothing better than a +1 sword or a +2 weapon out of this at all, right? Because you're meant to have all the good stuff and all the real better stuff up in the better parts of the city, right? With the proper sellers, yeah? So, anyway.
And that's that.
Store, shop, 1 or 2, right? Weapon shop. Very good. What's next?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
We're done.
Oh my god. We are done. Is it? We didn't look like we did much, even though we did do a lot. And I'll have to fill in all this about what the soldiers are, what page number they are, and their CR. And then that way we can write down and tick, tick, tick how many we're using as we go. And as I draw up the actual buildings off of these larger maps, I will make the notes about who's in them and what they're protecting and stuff. If I have to come back to address any of the buildings, like the one thing, like, so the inn should have, the inn's being run by a tiefling at the moment, so essentially you could use all the same NPC stats if you wanted to. Like, that could be the mirror universe, that all the same NPCs are here, but they don't know you, right?
Like,
Yeah, and they're all the evil versions, all the lawful evil versions of all the NPCs.
Everything is evil.
The cleric Flaldino, who sat here at the pool giving, you know, comfort and guidance to the party and that, he's no longer now lawful good worshipper of Bahamut. He's a lawful evil worshipper of Lilith, or some guidance, some monk, you know, right? And that's his role now. So you can just switch that around, use the same NPCs, all right, because they're of an appropriate level. And yeah, you could play that on your thing. They're like, you still walk in, everything looks the same, but like all the people are different. All of the city is different. It's got harpies flying over the top of it now, right? Yeah, if you say the wrong thing, someone's gonna try and cut you in the street, you know. So
you cast a healing spell.
How long did that take us?
1 hour and 6 minutes.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be a long one. We had a lot of stuff to get through, and I hope it makes sense that this is how we kind of shift over to the tiles, because after this, that is 2/3 of the city, I will draw up and make into tiles. I have the I have a new case ready to go, right? So that I can look, I got a whole new case ready to fill up, and this will be the second and third part of the city with everything we make in the challenge, right? And all of their city maps will go into here, so that they are both for the normal group and for this group, and the city will be drawn, and we'll have all of the mobs, all the NPCs, and all of the creatures.
Twinkle aqua jumped into your life and file. Click.
That's what I want. Is this what I want? Is this the aqua drops? Is it? Great. I'm glad we got that. Did you say not sponsored?
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Oh my god, not sponsored. Don't come after us, bros.
Please.
All right. Sure. Are you going to turn it off over there? Can you go find the button?
Use the thing.
Oh yeah, sure. No hassles. Join us again for our barracks and our boods.
And
I might have a black bear next time to go at the white bear.
And,
What's Gus say?
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Stay weird.
Goodbye.